Hello, we've reached the end of 2024 and we're starting off by updating the charts of my tiers. Throw!
Throw the salt, get in the ring. Welcome to the Dohyo.
Hello and welcome to the Dohyo here on Mr. JWags channel. We are back updating our Sumo Rankings, the charts of our tiers for the end of 2024. This, of course, is just the beginning of our 2024 coverage. We're also going to be updating our who will be our next Ozeki rankings, who will be our next Yokozuna rankings, and of course, the much-awaited whose year was 2024. And for those of you who may have missed the channel update, we have started a Patreon. So if you've been around for a while and would love to support the channel, check it out. The more support we get, the more episodes of the Dohyo there will be. And doesn't everyone want that? Or at least the people who are currently watching?
We're out here breaking hearts and chasing all my fears. Welcome to the charts of my tears.
Now, for those of you who have been around for a while, you know I don't just do a numbered list for my sumo rankings. I sort of chunk all the wrestlers into tiers, groupings where I think their true talent level lies, regardless of where they are specifically on the Banzai at this moment in time. First tier, Alpha Dog. I define this tier as a singular Rikishi who, if healthy, I would bet on over the entire rest of the Makuuchi field. Now, this tier has been vacant for a bit, as I don't see anyone on the Banzai who I'd say, like, yeah, that guy's going to win 3 out of 6 next year. So once again, tier 1 is vacant. That brings us to tier 2, Yusho contenders. These are Rikishi who are already up in the Sanyaku and fighting for Yusho every single tournament. I expect these wrestlers to get at least 10 wins up in the Sanyaku every tournament. Kotozakura, Onosato, Hoshoryu, and Terano Fuji. Not a lot of surprise here. It is all 3 of our current Ozeki and the current Yokozuna. If Terano Fuji had just finished one more tournament, I might have been able to slide him up to Alpha Dog, but he's 2 for 2 in the tournaments he finished this year, but Terano Fuji, of course, only finished 2 out of 6. So I can't really count on him to be there for the 15 days. Kotozakura, of course, looks amazing right now and is right in the catbird seat for his own Yokozuna run. I think it would take a 12-3 June Yusho or better for him, but he's had an amazing year. He started the year with a 13-2 playoff loss to Terano Fuji, ended up getting Ozeki, just a really solid year from Kotozakura. Onosato, now he ended up winning 2 Yusho as well as Terano Fuji, but unlike Terano Fuji, he wrestled every tournament, all 15 days, all year. So I'd say of the people on this list, he is the one I think is most likely to make the jump up to Alpha Dog in the next few basho. And Hoshoryu, he's been very consistent in one way. He hasn't had Make Koshi in years at this point, but also he hasn't had that much double-digit success up at the top of the ranks. But that seemed to turn around a bit in the last tournament. He got a 13-2, which he has never gotten before. And so if this is an actual leap, as opposed to just an excellent tournament, then I could absolutely see Hoshoryu making Yokozuna in the next year, especially if he gets like a 13-2 Yusho in the next tournament. That'd be very helpful. Next tier, tier 3, the Sanyaku Joy line. These wrestlers, I feel, are not quite going to be contending for the Yusho in every tournament, but I would be shocked if they got a Make Koshi outside of the Joy or Sanyaku. These are wrestlers who I expect to be facing the toughest possible schedule, and if they're not, I expect them to return to that mean fairly quickly. Wakamoto Haru, Kirishima, Daieisho, Wakataka Kage, Abi, Atami Fuji, Oho, and Takeru Fuji. Like I said, a lot of real solid wrestlers. I expect all of these wrestlers to begin and end next year in the Sanyaku Joy area. Now, Kirishima, like, who the heck knows what's going on here? He has been unbelievably inconsistent this year. Word is, it's due to injuries. Hopefully he can come back strong and, like, re-attack or, like, re-attack Ozeki. But for right now, I can't put him in the Yusho contenders quite yet. So he's going to hang out in this level for a bit. But of the people in this tier, he's the one I think has the most volatility up or down in the next year. Now, some of the older guys like Wakamoto Haru and Abi and Daieisho, I think we may be seeing them at their ceiling. Obviously, Daieisho and Abi have won tournaments, but I don't think that we're going to see them doing that again. Atami Fuji and Oho, of course, are both still very young, still working their way into their peak. Their rise has not been quite as meteoric as some, including me, have expected, but I don't expect them to be dropping down from here. If they stay healthy, I expect them to be firmly ensconced in the high Maegashira, if not lower Sanyaku, for the rest of the year. Wakataka Kage is a fascinating one. Of course, like, he was all the way up at Sekiwake. He won a tournament. We were looking at him as a possible Ozeki, then he got hurt, and now he's back, and he's looking really good, and his sumo has looked very, very consistent at every level on the way up. So he's a little long in the tooth, but if he can keep this up for another year and a half, we could be having the Ozeki debate again with Wakataka Kage. And Takeru Fuji, okay, he's sort of the hardest one to draw a beat on, just because he's had the shortest career in Makuuchi. He's only had 2 full tournaments in Makuuchi, and he won in his debut. He's just been getting hurt, he's been down to judo, he's been back up. It's just really hard to get an idea on where the true talent level lies. But right now, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I expect Takeru Fuji to find his true talent level in the lower Sanyaku and Joy this year. And yeah, he's young enough, there's also definitely room for improvement from here. And here's a brand new tier, tier 3.5, the Short Kings. We have a few wrestlers in the Makuuchi division, and I love them, they're great, but I feel like their smaller stature is just always going to affect them, and they've sort of reached their effective ceiling in Makuuchi sumo. They're great, I just don't think they're going to get any better from here. This includes Hirado Umi, Tobizaru, Ura, and Midori Fuji. Now, of these 4, Midori Fuji is the only true, pixie, little guy. All these other guys are above 300 pounds, but still, they are below average, and I think that is going to ultimately affect their ceiling in sumo. Now, having a ceiling of Komusubi is awesome, and 3 of these guys have gotten up to Komusubi in, the last year and a half, so I think these guys are pretty set here, and I don't really feel like they're worthy of, a lower ranking than this, but unfortunately, because of that lack of ceiling, I gotta put them slightly below tier 3. Sorry, guys. I love you. Now, tier 4, your Maegashira chorus. Now, these are some excellent wrestlers who I feel just, they can't quite cut it up at the very top level of sumo. If they were to get bumped up to face the toughest possible schedule, I think they're going to get bumped down again. But I think they're too good to be really considered a low Maegashira. If I see them at Maegashira 12 or 13, I'm pretty sure they're going to pop back up to this level. Takanosho, Gonoyama, Takayasu, Shodai, Mitakeumi, Endo, Shonan no Umi, Oshoma, and Chuda no Umi. So, of course, we have a lot of vets in their early 30s here, at least 3 former Ozeki. They're forming this nice sort of buffer level in the middle of the Bandscape. They're all sort of getting 7 or 8 wins and hanging out right there, forming a buffer level for any of the young hotness that they have to get through if they want to really achieve. And Takanosho has had some individually great tournaments this year, but as I think his record has shown, when he gets promoted up, he doesn't do well up there and can't handle a 15-day schedule up there. And that's why he's sort of the king of this tier. Now, Gonoyama, Shona Naomi, and Oshoma, now these guys are not over 30. In fact, a couple of these guys are still what we'd call pre-peak, but they haven't quite figured out how to win at the top level yet. But I could easily see any one of these 3 guys figuring it out and having a northward push on the Banzuke. Tier 5. Show me the sumo, young man. This is a tier for wrestlers who are 25 or younger who haven't quite figured it out yet, but because they're 25 or younger, I still feel there is a chance for them to have another leap in their sumo before they're completely sort of done. Kota Shoho, Roga, Onokatsu, Hakuoho, and Aonishiki. Now, Koto Shoho, he's the poster child for this tier. He's been in this tier, I think, his literal entire career. And while he's had a couple of individually excellent tournaments throughout his career in Makuuchi, he just hasn't shown any sort of consistency. Now, Roga seems to be creeping his way up the Banzuke slowly, but it's a very, very slow climb. If there is improvement, I think it's going to continue to be of the slow and steady variety for Roga. I do not expect a lightning bolt out of him. Now, this was basically Onokatsu's first year in sumo. He only has 7 basho in his career. And even though he was a Makushita Sukedashi, that's a very fast rise up to Makauchi. It's just, I think, after having a year with Onosato and Takeru Fuji, it's kind of hard to break through with that achievement in this year. But yeah, he got 22 wins in 2 tournaments at Judo, got a 7 and 8 in his first Makuuchi tournament, but then turned right around and got a 9 and 6 in the last tournament. I'm expecting a lot of things out of Onokatsu in the next year. Hakuoho is fighting his way back. It looks like he's going to be back in Makuuchi to start the new year, which is very exciting. He's gotten double-digit wins in judo in 2 of his last 3 tournaments, which is a very positive sign, including 10 wins in the last tournament. He's only 21. If he can manage to shake the injury bug for a little bit, I think we could see some very rapid movement out of Hakuoho. Now, Aonishiki is only 20, and he has had an amazing rise up the Banzuke. Unlike Onokatsu, he was not a Makushita Tsukadeshi. He started from the bottom. And he just got a 10-5 in judo in his 8th basho ever. And as I've mentioned before, he's a little bit undersized, but that has not seemed to matter yet. He's still in judo, but of the guys in judo, he's one of the ones I definitely have my eye on for the next year. And the final tier, Tier 6. They are who they are, the low Maegashira. Yeah, these are the guys I expect to hang out at the lowest part of the Banzuke, but I do expect them to spend most of their time in Makuuchi as opposed to Judo. I don't tend to rank the guys who are in Judo and below. Just because there are a lot of guys who can pop up from Judo for one tournament, I don't tend to rate the guys who are going up and down from Judo every tournament. Sorry guys, do better. But the wrestlers in Tier 6 are Nishikigi, Hokuto Fuji, Tamawashi, Ichi Yamamoto, Kinbozan, Takada Fuji, Chiyoshoma, Meisei, and Nishiki Fuji. Now don't get mad, I do have some deep personal love for some of these wrestlers. You all know how much I love Hokuto Fuji and Takara Fuji. And Nishikigi, who could hate that guy? But yeah, they're not doing so well. Now I think any one of these guys could sneak out and have a breakout 10-5 or 11-4 at the bottom of the Banzuke. But I think if they get promoted up even into the mid single digits, they're going to get smacked down pretty hard. I mean, I will always have love for Tamawashi and the fact that he is 40 and still wrestling in Makuuchi. We need to pay attention to this. This is not supposed to happen. And there's some other guys who seem to have fallen down this tier with a really rough 2024, but hopefully they can jump back in 2025. Guys like Kinbozan and Meisei. But overall, I think we've got this group of Maegashira to kick around for a bit longer. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Dohyo. Please, if you have not, like and subscribe. Pushing of the buttons is the love language of the YouTube algorithm, so please give that YouTube what it craves. And if you've been around the channel for a while and you keep coming back, maybe consider supporting us on the Patreon. And you're gonna want to stay tuned for all the amazing end-of-year episodes. Like I said before, the next Ozeki rankings, the next Yokozuna rankings, whose year was it? And then, of course, January Basho coverage and beyond. You're not gonna want to miss any of that. So everyone, stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy, and I will see you next time on the Dohyo.